Right, welcome back everyone. As we continue through our hearings, given that we have been on a break, I will bring us back together with a few reminders for those of you who are with us all day. I apologise that you will hear this repeatedly, but it's important that we are all aware of how we are operating today. So remind committee members and community that we, members of this committee, are here to approach the hearings with an open mind, and that we are here to take into account all written and oral submissions when it comes time to the deliberations. That we are here to listen to submitters and can ask questions or to get submitters to elaborate on particular points in their submission. These hearings are not an opportunity for members of the committee to comment on submissions, engage in debate with the submitters, offer solutions, or indicate your support one way or the other, whether that be verbally or physically. A reminder to those joining us online, please turn off your cameras and mute your microphone until you are called to speak. A reminder for all of our submitters that you have 5 minutes to present to us, that we encourage you to speak for the first 3 or 4 minutes and allow 1 to 2 minutes for councillors to ask questions. Given the large number of verbal submissions over the next 2 days, we are keeping tightly to time. Unfortunately, this morning we have seen a number of people that have confirmed their attendance but have not been here. So you will see that we would have to do a wee bit of juggling, seeing if people have come early from another block and moving around a little bit. So that is disappointing that we won't get to hear from everybody, but we can only work with what we have. So with that in mind, we are starting the 11:15 block, and the first person on my list is Daniel Fazakali. Daniel, are you here this morning? No, I'm getting a shake from down the back. Andrew McDonald. Please, we're going to see a 5 minute start when you are ready. And Amy over here will give you away 4 minutes to let you know that your time is coming.
Awesome, thank you very much.
Before you start, sorry, members of the committee, Andrew's submission is 388, online packet 2, page 389, and speakers pack number 35. Sorry, when you're ready.
All good. Make no mistake, whatever decision you make today, the entire saga will be remembered as a betrayal of public trust and a stain on the legacy of the South Wairarapa District Council.
Sorry, if you could.
You've tried to present this as a neutral consultation, but the documents I obtained under the Official Information Act tell a very different story. They show the council knew from the beginning that this bylaw, as proposed, wasn't even legally enforceable, and yet you've pushed ahead. Why? Because internal emails make clear the goal wasn't fairness or legality. The goal was to, and I quote, rush this across the line before the election. And because I quote again, this council is very supportive. That's not neutrality, and that is a manipulation dressed up as a consultation. And here's the most damning part. Your own staff wrote that the paper road is the only emergency lifeline for Cape Palliser communities if the main road is washed out, which it often is. Without it, people are cut off unless landowners grant permission or a state of emergency is declared, which only lasts for 7 days. So ask yourselves, did you trade public safety for politics? Because I feel like the legacy of this bylaw is basically that. From the start, this process has been broken. Early drafts of the bylaw proposed a fair and a legal solution, restricting four-wheel drives while keeping access open for walkers and cyclists, even suggesting replanting, fencing and cultural projects. That was a constructive path forward. But instead of holding the line on public rights, you caved to the demands of a few landowners and rewrote the bylaw into a blanket ban, something unprecedented in New Zealand. No other council has crossed that line. You knew it and you pressed ahead anyway. Councillors, you have a choice today. You can press on and carry this stain into history, remembered as the council that bent the rules, hid behind closed doors, and sacrificed public safety for expediency. Or you can do the only thing left in good conscience and pull the pin. Halt this broken process. Start again after the election with proper consultation, with transparency, and with every stakeholder at the table. The public has spoken. Over 3,500 submissions. They will remember your choice. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you. Any questions for Andrew this morning? I'd like to ask a question of clarification, Andrew. You mentioned the difference between 4x4 access and walking access. Can I just clarify? Are you supportive of restricting 4x4 access and maintaining walking and cycling access?
I feel like that's been offered under the guise of a law that you can't even enforce. So regardless of what I say, I'm kind of being forced to pick an option. The reality is you can ban four-wheel drive access under this. It's one option, but there is, as I've found out, there's plenty of solutions here that involve everything from banning four-wheel drives to allowing four-wheel drives, and this process seems to have missed that.
No, that's what I was just trying to get a steer on where you sat. That's fine. Any other questions for Andrew? Councillor Maynard.
Have you spoken to the landowners?
Yes, I've spoken to Hami. I don't know if he's a trustee of the trust, but I have basically reached out to anyone who wants to speak to me. I've become well known for basically replying to every comment and taking every call.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or clarification? No. Thank you for your time this morning, Andrew. As with everybody else, you are welcome to stay. And your submission, both verbal and presented today, and your written submission will be taken into account as we move forward. So thank you. We have Raymond Ford. Raymond, who is joining you? I've got Alan Brent was going to be with you, but I see that you have Sophie with you online as well. So if you both yourself and Sophie are able to turn on your cameras and your microphones.
Russell White, what's the next? Let's see.
Raymond,
Okay.
Raymond, you are still on mute. We're unable to hear you.
Proceed.
So Raymond's submission on behalf of the Federated Mountain Clubs of New Zealand is online packet number 9, page 395, or speakers pack 37.
Sorry,
Raymond,
can you hear me now or?
we can. Raymond, is Sophie and yourself both speaking to your submission?
No, it's just me. Alan, afraid has otherwise detained and sends his apologies.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, just for clarification, I have my back to you, not because I am intending to be disrespectful, but because the microphones are in front of me, and if I turn and look at you, you can't hear me. So your 5 minutes starts when you are ready, and Amy will give you a wave at 4 minutes. So when you're ready.
Okay, thank you. I'll try and do my best to address your back and the rest of the committee. So basically, I'll just talk briefly about us and then our concerns with the bylaw. So Federated Mountain Clubs represents something over 22,000 New Zealanders, and we've got over 100 clubs, 1,000 supporters, and we are involved in a whole wide range of outdoor recreational activities. That's tramping, climbing, biking, mountaineering, kayaking, and so forth. Particularly of interest to us is public access is maintaining public access to land, public land, and along the coast and to and along waterways. Now, this area, of course, is particularly interest to us. It's outstanding landscape. It backs onto the Aorangi Forest Park. It has sort of fantastic landscape and amenity values. A sense of wildness and naturalness that's typical feature of the sort of coastlines. We also appreciate that there's a long-standing history with Maori. the area's been settled for nearly 900 years, and the area is rich in sort of archaeological sites and other evidence of human occupation. So the point that we're concerned about is the unformed legal road which runs around the coast there between Cape Palliser and round to White Rock. And we oppose the bylaw. We don't think it's the most appropriate way for addressing the problem. And the grounds for that are that unformed legal roads basically have the same status as a formed legal road. People are entitled to use them, provided they don't cause any damage to the surface or trespass on private property. Now, council, as we understand it, can restrict motor vehicles on an unformed legal road to protect the environment, the road, adjoining land and safety of road users. It doesn't have the power to restrict non-motorised access along unformed legal roads. However, if the council wants to do that, the Local Government Act sets out quite a detailed, rigorous process for doing so, and including public notification, hearing objections, and then possibly going to the Environment Court. And we note that the council hasn't chosen to use this process, citing length of time and costs. And we'd also note that for the private landowners, there are other civil and legal options for dealing with the access, public nuisance, fires, damage, and so forth. So, and amongst all this, there's also councils have a duty to recognise and provide for public access to coastal marine areas, and also recognise and provide for the relationship between Maori traditions, their culture, ancestral lands, roads, waters, and so forth. And this has come through in the planning documents for the area, and we note in particular the Wairarapa Coastal Strategy, which the council has been involved in and prepared, specifically is designed to deal with the pressures on the coastline here. It seeks to encourage walking access to and along the coast, and to manage vehicle access and encourage responsible use of vehicles so that the impacts on native ecosystems and other beach users are avoided and minimised. So you've got the planning scope there already. We do appreciate the council's difficulty. You have an area that's rich in history and traditions. You've got outstanding natural values and landscapes. At the same time, you're having to manage public access. And in our view, I think many of the problems could be resolved by practical on-the-ground measures. And we'd like to draw your attention to some of the other places that have got similar values and issues, in particular the East Harbour Regional Park, which is managed by the Greater Wellington Regional Council. So, for example, there, the Parangarahu Lakes are jointly managed with the Taranaki Whanui, the Port Nicholson Block Settlement Trust. You also in place, we note you've got a ecosystem plan for the coast, Cape Palliser coast there, that's could be used as a basis for restoring damaged native indigenous plant communities. And that concept and approach could be applied further around the coast as well. And we also would note that in other areas, simple measures like poles, markers to delineate things like legal roads, public access easements are widely used elsewhere and could be applied here as well. So yeah, those sorts of practical on-the-ground measures are kind of the approach that we would advocate to deal with the issue.
Thank you, Raymond. That is your time with 10 seconds. Councillor England has one quick question for you.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Raymond, you mentioned in your submission there's the relationship agreement between DOC and Rangatani to my trust in relation to the Stonewall Scenic Reserve. I would be keen to, would you be able to provide us a copy of that relationship agreement if you have access to it?
I could have a look for it and send you a link. When I was doing my research on this, I came across it. The Napotiki Trust Reserve was purchased and added on to that block by the conservation land. But yeah, no, I'd have to have a look and find the link and send it through to you.
Very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Raymond. Thank you for your time pulling together your written submission and your time online with us today. Both your verbal and written submission will form the basis of our deliberations in coming weeks. So thank you again for your time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Fantastic. We will move on now to Joe Hart. Joe, are you in the room? No, he's not. He's not coming. I recognise that our next block is not until after lunch and we're well ahead of that, but I'm wondering, I believe that Stuart Campbell is in the room. And Stuart, are you happy to present to us now?
Yes.
Fantastic. If you'd like to join us. Stuart's submission is 541, online packet 2, page 546, speakers pack number 49. If you just give councillors a moment to rustle through their paperwork. Great. Those are we ready for Stuart to proceed. Thank you, Stuart, when you're ready.
I see this current bylaw as primarily about restricting public access to public land. Not only that, but the process followed by council staff to determine the impact is clearly flawed because they identified this as a low impact activity or bylaw. There have been more submissions made about this than any other bylaw since I've been in Martinborough. Council paperwork obtained under a legoima also clearly states that the predetermined objectives of this is to hand public land over to private control. Let's be clear, we are talking about land that is not on private titles. It is land owned by the public, possibly in the name of the Crown in some cases, and managed by South Wairarapa Council for the benefit of all Kiwis. Damage to adjacent land could easily be managed by landowners erecting fencing at their own cost, as is normal. Council do not pay for farmers' boundary fences, and for any heritage spots to also be fenced and identified. Damage to those spots is quite likely accidental. I've been out there over 25 years and they're not well identified spots out there. Any subsequent transgressions can then be dealt with by the courts either as trespass or under the Heritage Act, which carries penalty of hundreds of thousands of dollars for creating damage to heritage sites. This is not a ratepayer problem, yet our rates are funding this whole kerfuffle. And lastly, South Wairarapa District clearly state this public access is essential should the current road become inaccessible. The alternate access proposed by the bylaws do not provide realistic alternative access to the coastline. New Zealand's coastline is precious, it needs to be protected. Private landowners deserve protection for their private land, but not by removing public access on public land. South Wairarapa District Council need to act in the public interest and protect their interests, the interests of the public, as well as those of the adjacent landowners. Thank you.
Stuart, any questions, clarification from councillors for Stuart this morning, please? No, you were very
Sure.
clear in your presentation. So as with all other submitters, both your written and verbal submission will be taken into consideration as we move through to deliberations in the coming weeks, and you will help us form our pathway forward. Thank you, Stuart.
Thanks, Stuart.
Just double checking, maybe what by show of hands, is anyone currently here that was in the block for after lunch that would like to present? That being the case, we will break for lunch and return at 12:30 PM for our afternoon hearings. So please join us when we come back at lunch.